SUVs are the name of the game when it comes to cars, but a new company from Bengaluru is calling this an SUV. As you can see, it's not a car, it's an electric scooter. It's called the Indie, and what I want to know is whether the SUV of scooters tag is marketing masala or there's engineering effort gone into that claim. So let's find out, shall we? And we'll start with the S in SUV, Sport. With clip-on handlebars, 14-inch tires, a 6.7 kilowatt motor and a 240mm disc at the front, the Indie seems to check this box on paper. In the real world though, things are slightly more different. Acceleration is strong. It's not Ather or Ola fast, but it is still really quick. And thankfully the brakes are also up to the task, because even though this doesn't have ABS, it has a very large front rotor and it comes to a stop without a fuss at all. And if you're trying to sneak through traffic to get somewhere soon on the Indie, you will feel some of the heft of the scooter. It takes a little bit of effort to get it tipped in, but the raised clip-ons give you just that much more leverage to muscle it around. Of course, if you do ride it at full pelt the entire time, the range is going to take a beating, and while a full range test will happen later, you can expect between 85 to 100 kilometers of real-world range from the Indie. Now, regen on the Indie is adaptive and it works both when you're off throttle and on the brakes, and it's done really well. The calibration is so on point that it feels almost as natural as engine braking, and it is really great. What you can control though are the riding modes. There's 3 of them: Eco, Ride and Rush. In Eco, your top speed is capped to 50 kilometers per hour, but thankfully it still gives you maximum torque when you're at low speeds. So in city, in traffic conditions, you will not really feel the need to ever shift out of Eco mode. I've defaulted to the Ride mode, which still gives you the full 90 kilometers per hour, but it doesn't have the overly sharp throttle response of the Rush riding mode. Now in Rush, I got up to a speedo indicated figure of 91, which is 1 kilometers per hour more than what River claims, but of course there's going to be speedo error and all of that. Regardless of the riding mode though, the Indie isn't outright sporty and there's some laziness to its responsive, but it is a lot of fun. Next up is not but utility. You get a 12-liter lockable glove box in the front, 43 liters of underseat storage, lock and load pannier mounts, and you also get front foot pegs so you can load up the flat floorboard without any discomfort. It's all delightfully well thought out. I mean, 55 liters of total storage is about the same as a small hatchback. Not really, but it is useful. I mean, there is enough space to store a full-size helmet with storage left to spare. There are also a bunch of accessories River will offer for the Indie that can be used to take the utility factor up by a few notches. One of my favorites from the catalogue are these sort of gates that you can get for the floorboard, which are perfect if you tend to carry loose items in the front, and also add a bit of a safety net if your pets often come along for the ride. A lot of accessories for the Indie are still under development, but some of the more basic ones like the phone mount and the floorboard guards I spoke about can be bought at launch. Okay, U is a check, but what about V? No, not you and me, I mean V for vehicle. For this to be a good vehicle, it has to be comfortable, and for that River has given it a large diameter telescopic fork up front and twin rear shocks instead of a sportier monoshock. I'm honestly a bit disappointed in that regard. River said a lot of things about comfort in their presentation, but the ride is stiff. The good thing is that it doesn't bottom out easily, but you can feel every bump and pothole that you go through. My guess is that River has tuned this suspension to carry a lot of load, pillion and luggage, And with that load, the suspension might compress and settle down, and then the ride might be comfortable. But for me and today's riding conditions, it's not been the best ride quality that I've experienced so far. That aside, the seat is comfortable and well cushioned. It's also fairly spacious, and this is also a scooter that should fit taller riders very well. Going lock to lock on the handlebar, my knees never came in the way. And there's two more things that I'd like to talk about. One is the screen, or well, the lack of it. There's just too much importance given to screens in both cars and motorcycles today, and I'm glad Rivers walked away from that discussion. The Indy gets a negatively lit LCD, a well laid out one, but not a particularly bright one. Rivers says they are working with their suppliers to get a brighter unit out once the customer deliveries start. Of course, there are no maps, but there aren't any complaints from me on that. The second bit is the quality of materials. There are some areas that I really like the raised logo on the front and the back, as well as the form over function design and the utilitarian elements that are so neatly integrated into the Indy. But then the plastic quality and the switchgear are very so-so. And getting into reverse is a 3-step process. And also the toggle switch for the ride modes goes from left to right, while the menu on the screen goes from top to bottom, so there is a bit of a disconnect there. But before we end, there is one more thing to talk about. Pricing. River announced a price of Rs 1.25 lakh way back in Feb, and that is spectacular pricing for what is a big, well kitted out scooter. And unlike some companies, River is going to be honoring that price for pretty much everyone who pre-booked the scooters at that time. Now, Arvind Mani, who's the CEO of River, he made it very clear that he wants to pay back the trust of the customers by giving them what they asked for at the price they were promised at. Now, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a company that's not just out to make money, but also to build a customer base. Now, once these first 1,000 or so orders are fulfilled, there will be a new price that comes into play, and we are still expecting it to be below the Rs 1.5 lakh rupee mark. Now, a quick refresher on River's selling model is that they've said they will establish a dealer and a service network first before starting to sell in a city. The first of these dealer and service networks is going to open up in Bengaluru by November, so sales for now are going to be restricted in that city. There are more cities to come next year, and again, Arvind was very clear that they want to take things slowly, but they want to do it right. After so many Me Too products in the market that just seem to be fighting on spec sheets and screen sizes, River's Indy is a scooter that is looking at things refreshingly differently. It's a scooter for people like you and me. People that use their scooters for everything: shopping, groceries, office, mall, movie, lunch, dinner, dates, everything. And the Indy is a scooter that does almost everything really well. It's not sporty, and the leaner Ather 450X is actually better suited if commuting is your only use case. But if you want to do more with your scooter, the storage spaces, the well thought out features, the practicality, they all come together to make this very unique. And I like unique. We could do with a little more unique in our market. Thank you for watching PowerDrift. My name is Karan, and I'll see you soon. But if you want to do more with your scooter, the storage spaces, the well thought out features, the practicality of it, make this a truly unique